The Liberals tomorrow will choose their new leader, and today that leader's job got a whole lot harder. So much harder that the Liberals have to stop lying to themselves. Let me go through some of those lies tonight, or wishful thinking. Now, the first thing, today showed me that Anthony Albanese isn't what some Liberals hope, a lightweight Prime Minister, someone who will now let his stunning success in the election go to his head and go rogue. No, I don't think Albanese will make the mistake that John Howard did in his last term. Howard had a surprise majority in both houses, went harder on industrial relations reform than he promised, and got smashed from it. Albanese learned that lesson. Nor is Albanese promising another voice this time. He got burnt badly in his first term, and now I think wants to be more a healer. So today he announced his new ministry, which was actually not much different to his last one. Albanese is looking for stability. The big changes, his former rival Tanya Plibersek has been dumped from environment to social services. She will be replaced by the go-get-them Murray Watt, and Albanese wasn't sparing Plibersek's feelings in saying this was actually a top job for a top performer.
I regard the environment as a really central portfolio. It's the only one I've ever asked for in this building. And I regard it as very much a senior role in a Labor government. I've changed a range of portfolios around. I've got people who are, I think, in the best positions.
So take that, Tanya. Well, she had looked a goose in environment. She even effectively cancelled a $1 billion gold mine after being sold a clearly ludicrous story about a sacred bee. What, isn't that stupid? Now, I'm sorry in painting this rosy picture if I'm not telling Liberals what they'd like to hear, but this is no time now for the tribal rah-rah about how hopeless Albanese is. Because what isn't the only move that showed Albanese wants problems fixed. Health Minister Mark Butler, another fixer kind, now has to look after the National Disability Insurance Scheme as well as health. That is such a money pit, the NDIS. It was meant for only people with permanent and significant disability. Can you tell me how more than 700,000 Australians are now on it, costing us $46 billion a year? I won't go through all the other changes, but Dan Molino, with a PhD in economics from Yale, is now Assistant Treasurer. The very capable Andrew Charlton has been promoted. And the people dumped, well, there's Attorney General Mark Dreyfus, Ed Husic, and who cares? Now, it is true that Albanese did not shift the government's most unpopular minister, according to polls. That's Energy and Resources Minister Chris Bowen, of course. Climate Change Minister, sorry. In charge of Labor's green energy revolution, which is already a disaster. And this is the one hope, if hope of failure is the word, the coalition can take from this reshuffle. Now, Bowen's green energy revolution is only going to fail worse because you simply cannot replace coal-fired power stations with a system almost entirely powered by wind and solar without risking blackouts and higher prices. And we saw that, of course, with the massive blackouts just last month in Spain and Portugal. And Britain's grid operators are now warning the same could happen there. So the Liberals can't now lose courage and go weak on nuclear power and go Labor light on renewables. But to the Liberals, what a mess. They've lost so many seats, so much talent in the last two elections. And some still tell themselves fairy tales about why, like this today by former Liberal MP Jason Falinski of the Liberal left to a Tell Us More ABC. Now, like many on the left, Falinski is saying the Liberals' problems are that they just weren't diverse enough. Not enough women, for instance.
The most successful party around the world at creating a diverse and inclusive parliamentary party was the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, who is now, of course, led by a black woman. And he massively diversified the party into what is probably now one of the most diverse political parties in Western Europe. I think that's the system that we should look at.
Okay, so the British Conservatives are the model because they tick all the diversity boxes under their new leader, like America's Democrats did last year under Kamala Harris. You know how that went. And in fact, in Britain, the polls last week showed the Conservatives have crashed to third place now, behind Nigel Farage's anti-immigration reform party and the ruling Labor government. Some model. Fact is, you don't pick someone just because they're a woman or even a black woman. You pick people, first of all, with brains, with leadership qualities and the right ideas. If they turn out to be Margaret Thatcher, even better. But they first have to have the brains. Now, Susan Lee, she's supposed to be the favourite in tomorrow's leadership contest for the Liberals. Well, she is the diversity choice, isn't she? But then you have to ask why she's the favourite. I mean, has she actually shown the vision that the Liberals need to become leader? The toughness, the cut through. But there's another myth to bust, and it's a similar one about Jacinta Nampijinpa Price. She's being hailed by the Liberals right as the new saviour. Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor, in running against Lee, has got Price as his deputy. I mean, young and diverse helps him that way. And they put out this ad together.
You've got the incredible experience behind you. I've had the pleasure of, having you as a mentor so far in my journey. And I think we have such passion for this country.
And you've been a great inspiration to me, but we've got to regroup, rebuild and get it back into the fight.
Now, I can't help but think this is a mistake. Now, I love Jacinta. I've probably defended her for more years than anyone. I've promoted her for years. She is fearless, she is frank, and she was absolutely critical in defeating Albanese's racist plan for the voice. Her instincts are fantastic. She's got a great future, but I think she's actually just been in Parliament for just 3 years. What else has she done in this time? Peter Dutton promoted her to be in charge of government efficiency 3 months ago. She came up with no efficiencies of substance. She was missing for most of the election campaign, and when she did speak, her loose language just got the Liberals into deeper strife.
We can make Australia great again.
Is that an ode to Donald Trump?
No, if I said that, I don't even realise I said that, but no.
Now, how would Nampijinpa Price go talking economic policy and workplace reform and all those other things a deputy leader must address? And which colleagues would come to her as deputy leader with problems they need fixing in the party? How is she more capable in that role than, say, James Paterson? Just quickly, a couple more lies the Liberals should stop listening to. No, let me say again, they did not lose this election by going too far to the right. Which key policy did they push in that campaign that was too right-wing? I struggle to find them. Labor, the Greens and the media left just say it was too much to the right because they want people to believe that the Liberals are too extreme. They want the Liberals to stop fighting. And another lie, the Liberals must stop fighting the culture wars. In fact, it's the left that starts these wars. It's the left that announced that men can be women. We must divide ourselves by race. Free speech is dangerous and climate change is going to wipe us out. Conservatives don't start these wars. They resist them. And if they argue politely and they don't sound nasty, they can win them, like they won on The Voice, on The Republic, on stopping the boats, on axing the carbon tax. And another fantasy I hear from some of the Liberal left. Just dump the climate wars, dump the nuclear reactors. I mean, wake up. Look what happened today. If they do that, how can the Liberals stay in coalition with the Nationals? David Littleproud was today re-elected as the Nationals leader, but only after many Nationals politicians like Barnaby Joyce, Mark McCormick, Matt Canavan, who ran against Littleproud, said the net zero target was a disaster and nuclear was critical.
The rush to renewables needs to be paused. We need to have a good, long, hard look.
And Littleproud, after his win this afternoon, wasn't committing himself on nuclear or net zero targets, but you can tell the direction the party will take under him is clear.
You cannot run an economy of the industrial scale the size of Australia on an all renewables approach. Just look at Spain and Portugal. The reality is even Anthony Albanese is saying your energy bill is going to go up, not down.
Liberals now dump their firm conviction for nuclear power, throw it away because they're scared of the election result, or if they go pro-green energy, at the same time the Nationals are going the other way, they're going to be torn apart. And to a final lie, that it's somehow Sky News' fault that the Liberals got smashed. As even the Financial Review wrote in a silly editorial today. Well, look, speaking for myself, and this is our most popular show, I actually didn't want the Liberals to offer higher taxes than Labor. Shock. Or go on a spend-a-thon, or hide its defence policy, or run from explaining the nuclear policy, or run rubbish ads, or refuse to attack Donald Trump. I said attack Donald Trump. How often did I say that? So tomorrow, the Liberals have to have a serious think. Who actually has the talent? Who has the policies to lead them for 3 years, knowing what we will then face after 3 years of Labor? It's not easy, but for now I would say reluctantly, Angus Taylor with Susan Lee as his deputy, maybe Tim Wilson. And my second choice, other way around, Lee and Taylor. But in the end, never mind the faces. It will be the policies that count most.